Welcome to Whose Story Is It?, where extraordinary lessons are hidden within everyday stories. Join us today in revealing the untold stories within a business leader's success. Enjoy as we uncover the extraordinary in the ordinary.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Whose Story Is It? We are recording on a Saturday morning, and I'm really excited to be talking to a Canadian. I love that. So most of you, or some of you, probably know my wife's Canadian, so I have a soft spot in the heart for Canadians. Welcome to the show. Thanks for listening. The three listeners right now listening. Thanks for listening. I appreciate being here. And let's get started. Give us a little introduction.
Sure. So I'm a new Canadian. I came to Canada in 2011, and love Vancouver, where I decided to live my life. So that's been a great city to explore. I built a few businesses here, and keep falling in love with city and country more and more.
Yeah, no, like I said, we were talking before we turned on the record button, but it's one of my favorite cities in North America. I think it's just a wonderful city to visit and to be in. So you're a lucky man, definitely a lucky man. So let's start off with this will be an interesting question because I know you've traveled a bit in your lifetime. Where did you earn your first dollar that wasn't from a relative?
My first job was in Estes Park, Colorado, in Subway.
Oh, really?
It was my first job ever. I was 20, I think, or 19, and was my first shift. I was on a salad duty. They just told me, hey, here's the salad section. Today you're doing just that. It's
Sure.
You don't know anything else. So I did my salad duty, and we had a jar with tips, and somebody left $1. And at the end of the shift, they gave me the $1, and I was like, oh man, this is my first $1. I should put it in a frame or something.
Yeah.
It was $5.40 per hour job. I got promoted in that Subway to be opening person, so I would, after probably a month, I was the person who would go and open the store, start baking bread. It's interesting how fast went to learn every single thing about running the Subway.
Yeah.
One day, so I would go and start, and after about half an hour, the more senior person will come and kind of join me, and then we open the store.
Yeah.
One day, I was working 4 jobs at that time, so I barely slept. Like some weeks, I was working over 120 hours. So one day I slept in, and when I wake up, it's already 9 o'clock, and the store is open 9 o'clock, and I'm supposed to be there at 8. So I'm thinking, well, probably the manager or more senior associate came and just doing himself. I'm showing up at the store. I'm going on my bicycle, ride as soon as possible.
Sure.
Get there in 10 minutes, and I see a line from the store and people like knocking at the door as it's 9:10.
Yeah.
Like, where's my sandwich?
Yeah, totally.
And I go there and I'm trying to open the door, and I was like, give me 10 minutes to set up everything because there is no bread, there's nothing.
Yeah.
I open the door and people like start rushing after me. They're like, and I'm like, so I'm sorry, we are not prepared yet. They're like, we don't care. You're supposed to be open at 9. We're hungry. So I go inside and phone is like constantly ringing.
Sure.
And I was like, well, I never talk on the phone. It's usually a manager or somebody else. So I answered the phone. I was like, who is this? And it's like, well, it's me. Well, why is the not store available? I was like, well, I slept in. Who is it? I was like, this is a regional manager of, Subway for this, for Colorado State. And this is not acceptable. I was like, yeah, I know it's not acceptable. I don't know where the other person is. They're like, yeah, we cannot get a hold of manager too. So manager slept in, I slept in, and
Did he
And
show up? Did the other manager show up?
he showed up like maybe half an hour after I started, and he was. This is when I realized that even managers sometimes are not very organized or on time. But it was a very interesting experience, and I'm very grateful for that first job because uh, it was franchise, and it was
Yep.
um, meeting a lot of clients and learning names of different food items. Like it's I didn't speak English that much at that time, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. That's a good story. How long were you there? How long did you stay there?
For 4 months, and then I came back next summer for another 4 months to
Oh,
work.
that's good. Good. Estes Park. That's a nice area actually.
Very
Yeah.
nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
elks,
Yeah. Yeah.
bears.
Yeah. Yeah. I
We
like.
walked
Yeah.
on Long's Peak. That's like 4,000 meters plus.
Yeah.
It's to 12,000 feet plus peaks. Yeah, we climbed some of those. Was very, very cool.
That's cool. Yeah, that's very cool. Um, Tell me what do you do for fun? Like, what's the fun part? I know you have a couple kids, so it probably takes a lot of the time. But what do you do for fun?
What I think the best thing for me is when I travel to new places and explore new places. And it could be a new restaurant or a new trail close to where I live, or it could be a new country, with 20-hour flight. Um, I just love exploring.
Hmm.
And even if I go to the same place that I've been before, I try to find some new areas or things to do. Um, yeah, if I were able to do it, all day long, like running YouTube show about new places, I think that will be my
Yeah.
dream life.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I'm very similar. Like Patty, my wife's always we go somewhere and like, oh, we've been there before. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't want to go there. I've already been there. Let's go like you say, let's go to a different restaurant or let's go to a different place. Yeah, I'm totally in that camp of wanting to look and experience new things. Hey, if you compare what you're doing today, and this is in your business world, right, in your business life, if you compare that to say 5, 7, 8 years ago, what is the major difference for you versus 5 or 8, 10 years ago? Like, what's the big thing? If there's one or maybe two things that are very different, what is it for you?
Well, stress level is different for sure.
Sure, sure.
5, 6, 7 years ago, I had a lead generation company and publishing company,
Uh,
and I was working 1 hour a day, maybe 2 hours a day. We had in publishing company we had 140 people working all remotely, no office, general
yeah.
managers, 7 managers, and I would just go to French coffee shop, open my laptop, look through dashboards, send a couple of messages,
Yep.
and that's it. That was it. We were
Yeah.
just looking. We were building online magazines. It was real digital nomad lifestyle.
Sure.
I could go live anywhere. And 5, 6, 7 years later, now I have people in the office that I need to be present. Hiring, firing is not as easy as just clicking the button on Upwork.
Sure.
Um, you need to be a real leader and lead the team, and also scale is different. We are building completely like at least 10x bigger business, maybe 100x bigger business. Our goal is to get to about 300 million system-wide revenue, and we're on track to do it. Just we don't know how long would it take, but we know
Sure.
we'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's good.
it's a much bigger challenge. So the stress level is enormous. And also I didn't have kids at that time. I have kids now.
Yeah.
So uh, after work, instead of going for a run or watching Netflix, I have my second shift where I
Sure.
need to help my wife with kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Get the dad shift. Yeah.
So that's shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Um, and in your kind of in your daily business life, what do you really enjoy to do in your day? Like, what part of the day is like, I really like this piece of it.
I think I was born to be a consultant of some sort because I like solving problems of different kinds. For some reason, it's just easier for me to find solutions to very, very different type of problems. Um, I'm not good with routine, so I like change and unique things that open up. And in any business, you have a lot of unique things every day.
Sure. Yeah.
But especially in growing businesses or businesses that are going through different transition phases, and yeah, anything that kind of comes unexpected, this is, and I need to solve it. I think this is what I like the most.
Yeah. Yeah. You're the problem solver. Yeah. 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 What part of your day do you not like?
Accounting, um, admin stuff, all those bureaucratic things. This is where I legal,
Yeah.
because we have franchisor company in States and franchisor company in Canada. There are different laws in different states.
Yeah.
There's border, trans-border agreements, taxes, all of those.
Yeah.
So it's quite a bit of bureaucratic things in our
Yeah.
business. Plus we are in construction, so all those permits, licenses across different markets. That's my least favorite part. Like in my mind, it's always, why do I have to do it? Like it's slowing me down.
Sure.
Let me just pay more taxes. Let me
Yeah.
just do it faster, else so I can pay you more taxes, so I can do you can
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
your thing. But I wish cities would or states would streamline a lot of bureaucratic things so it's all online and kind of one click. It's
Yeah.
getting better, but it's still um you know the part that I wish I had a partner who would just do it for me.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be the part you would give away. Like, let that person do all that stuff. Yeah. 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 Well, at some point you will. At some point you'll find that person because you'll be big enough that you're like, okay, this is a somebody's job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Um, what do you so you went to tell me about here. Let's do this. Let's do this in 3 minutes, and I'm going to time it in 3 minutes. Tell me your life story.
Sure.
Okay, so let me do this. Get my phone here. Let me get a give me a stop started. Okay, so yeah, okay, ready there we go. Okay, so you got 3 minutes. Give us your life story in 3 minutes or less.
I was born in USSR, in a small town on the border with Poland. I grew up in a pretty good family. My dad was a teacher who turned to be entrepreneur, and I lived with my parents, knowing that it's better to be entrepreneur than to have a job. Then I got a government grant and moved to Poland to study after high school. I did a degree in computer science, then master's in finance. Went to work in States, in Canada, in Europe, and then worked for PayPal for a year. That was very, very cool experience. Moved to Canada and could not find a job and started building businesses instead. And I built over 10 businesses. Um, Largest one is franchise in the construction space with 57 locations now across states in Canada. Um, yeah, I have a beautiful wife and two kids, 1-year-old and 3-year-old. So it's a busy, busy, busy time. Um, and that's it.
That's
That's my
good.
life story.
That's like not even 2 minutes. Good job. Um, and so you went to college in, did you say Poland? Is that where you went to college?
Yeah, Poland and Denmark.
Denmark. Okay, that's great. Um, and when you were in college, what was your what did you enjoy doing? Like, what was the thing that you enjoyed about college? If you look back and remember, like for me, I played basketball in college, and which I just loved. It was super fun, and school was always pretty easy for me. So, but that's my memory, right, of college.
Right.
What like if I asked you this, what's your memory of college? What would you tell me?
It's like what you described, similar to my dad was saying that college is the best time of your life, so just enjoy it.
Mhm.
My college was a little bit different. So when I got government scholarship, I could pick any university, any group. So I went to ranking of all universities and picked the first one. What I didn't realize, this was it was 40 top 40 people in the country best at computer science. So the entry exam passing point was 100 points out of 100 points. And
Sure.
I realized that when I get there, that actually nobody did the exam. Everyone was top 3 in physics,
Oh,
top 3 in mathematics, top 3 in
sure.
computer science. All were the top people around the country who went and studied to study in that group. And that group was mostly all those hackers who, got
Sure.
hired
Yeah.
by FBI
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
things like
Yeah.
this. Those Polish programmers, they're very, very well known around the world. And I didn't speak Polish, and I didn't have a computer.
Okay. That's a problem.
So first almost 2 years of my computer science degree, it was a lot of mathematics, but first 2 years I didn't have a computer because for some reason my parents didn't
Sure.
buy me a computer, and I couldn't buy myself a computer. So it was I would wake up at 7 a.m. School starts at 8 a.m. Finishes around 4 p.m. I'll go to get food and then go to library. Library
Right.
closed till 10 p.m. So I'll be in library till 10 p.m. Then I'll go home and study till about 1 a.m. From 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. And then 1 a.m. I'll go to sleep and I wake up at 7 a.m. And then on Saturdays and Sundays was much better because I could go to library from the morning, so I have more time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my university was struggle, pain, and suffering, um,
Sure.
because I went to the most difficult technical university, probably one of the most difficult in Europe.
Yeah.
But what I learned is that, we had 7 different mathematic, courses, right, on the first year.
Sure.
So, um, what I learned is that in the world there is nothing that is complex. You can always split a complex thing to
Smaller
number of
one.
other things,
Yeah.
then split others to smaller, and then you can always get to the bottom, and those bottom pieces will be simple, and you can solve them. So I lost fear of complex things. Like anything in financial world and IT world and business world that people think that, oh man, this is complex. I was like,
Sure.
No, it's not. Like
Yeah.
it
You can
doesn't exist.
you can break it down. Yeah.
After that school, I can do whatever. And I was like, my grades were not that good. Even though I tried really hard, and I was one of the top in mathematics in my city where I grew up. So it was just the level of expectations of professors and other
Sure.
students was extremely high. Then when I got to the top business school in the country, I did 3 majors: finance, accounting, and banking. And I barely studied. And I got scholarship for like the top performance, like top 5% students at their grades.
Yeah.
So comparing to technical school, the business school was nothing. And I realized that what would happen if I would just went to business school from day one?
Sure.
How my life would be different. I'm grateful for both, because with business school I just on probably the second, third year of computer science I realized that I would rather do business than
Yeah. The other stuff.
IT. Even on a second year of university, we built the first social media in Russian language for like Russian speaking people. So we copied Facebook, there was another network, Grona in Poland,
Uh-huh.
and we kind of combined them and we built the first social media in Russian speaking world.
Oh,
What we
that's
didn't know is that you need tens of millions of dollars to make it successful.
Sure.
So we kind of fail after 4 months after we build it. But that was my thinking. How can we
Yeah.
build business and not how do we program stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. That is very interesting. Um, you know, the thing about European schools, and obviously you experienced it, is they have just a higher, like you say, it's a higher expectation. You just have a higher expectation. It's just it's the way it is. So in the U.S., there's very few colleges that have that. I don't even know if there's any, honestly. I don't know if there's any colleges, universities that have that kind of expectation that you guys do in Europe. And you went to one, but there's probably another half dozen that are like that, right? They're just super,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
right? Yeah. Yeah, it's very different in the U.S. and the university systems. So, and Canada as well, right? Canada as well is just similar,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I did a couple of courses in Wharton and in UBC and in BCIT. So
Yeah,
out of those three, BCIT was the most challenging by probably 3, 4 times. So,
yeah,
and that's technical school, probably the best technical school in British Columbia. So I think every technical school will be just more challenging
yeah,
than
yeah,
business or overall arts
yeah,
schools.
yeah. I would agree. Um, what part of the business, like today, like what is the most challenging part of the business today for you and your business? Like what's the thing that keeps you up at night, so to speak?
Um, Great question. I have ambition to grow, much faster, but in business, everything takes
Takes
longer
time.
than you expect.
Sure.
And uh, this is where disconnect happens, where I want us to move. We are growing 100% a year, and by any means, it's a very healthy,
That's great.
good growth.
Yeah, yeah,
Normally, if the company is growing over 20%, it's already considered as a fast
yeah.
growth company. But I look at other companies that are growing faster, and I was like, why can't we do like 4, 5 times
4x. Yeah,
growth?
yeah,
So this is where I pushing myself and pushing our team to do more and to achieve more. And uh, things do break
yeah,
uh, and challenges happen. And I think the more you push the business forward, the more things break. So to me, it's just finding balance between harmony in business and relationships in team and with our franchisees, and also at the same time pushing companies as soon as we can,
yeah,
because I believe that we are doing a great thing by offering services in the markets where companies in our space were charging double or triple what we charge
mhm,
for the same
yeah.
thing.
The same thing. What do you value in a friendship? Like, what's the most important thing for you, and if for your best friend or a new friend, what do you value in a friendship?
I think acceptance of each other. I think it's if I'm being accepted and I accept the other person the way they are, I think this is where you can build healthy friendship. So the friendship is not built on, hey, we both play tennis, so let's be friends, or
Sure.
hey, we both build this business to X, so let's be friends. But I think real friendships happen when for one reason or another, you accept the person the way they are and they accept you. And then there are less things that I can break at that time.
Sure, sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. And your like, give me a moment or time or experience in your life where you were embarrassed. Like like what was a time that you like, well, I did this in college, or I did this and whatever, but give me one that I would remember.
There are a lot of of those, and some of those were barely legal. So one that I still remember is when I got into that first school in Poland.
Sure.
I thought that government is paying so much money for my education to university, so university owes me something.
Sure.
So we went there, and there is a big meeting with all students for first year, not just our faculty, but like a lot of other faculties. And it's like 40,000 students university, so it's a large university. And they didn't print our ID cards, student ID cards. And I go there and I start screaming at them. I was like, government is paying you like out of like it's my scholarship. Government is so much money, and you fail at this. And I was and they're looking at me like, what are you talking about?
Exactly.
What I didn't realize is government didn't pay much money to that university. That's a government university. They just opened those spots for a couple of guys like me who had those scholarships. And those were people who were volunteering. They were kind of student union, helping new students, to feel welcomed into university. And I was so arrogant, and I was like, yeah, shouldn't do it. I still feel bad for those people that. Yeah, it was zero humility at that time.
Yeah. Well, especially at that age too, because you were how old at that? How old were you then?
I was 17, and I was accepted to the top university, and I was so pumped. I didn't know that it will be difficult. I didn't know that I need a computer. I didn't know, that those people are actually much smarter than me.
Yeah.
It's so many things I didn't know, and I probably behaved like entitled kid
Totally. Exactly.
who thought that he achieved something without even starting.
Exactly. You hadn't even started yet, and it was already you already added it. You already had done it in your mind, right?
Yeah.
Totally. What is a like I call it a superpower, you may call it a natural gift. What is your superpower or natural gift? What are you just really good at, just right out of the box? Like what's the thing for you?
I think it's kind of connected to my school. I understand very complex things very fast. Like if somebody comes to me and says, I do this business, but you probably would understand. It's like, yeah, tell me. And then they tell me, and I tell them right away what can be improved, and they just blown away because it's rarely you meet the person who will understand difficult, complex things inside the business or in someone's career. So for some reason, I can answer a couple of questions, and then I would know a lot. It might be just a curiosity overall that I'm a generalist and a lot of different things. And also I removed this barrier of complexity existing during university, and so somebody comes in and says, I have this complex problem, I don't know how to solve it. I would be able to coach this person and to help this, or to consult a coach depending on the case, into solving that issue.
Yeah, you just have that ability. Like, and I think, well, I know in my career, starting, several businesses and all that stuff. I always look for people when I hired them that were naturally curious. Like they ask a lot of questions. Like, like that's actually one of my things is I am super curious. I ask a lot of questions. Just naturally, I ask questions. Like if you and I met just in passing, I would ask a lot of questions because that's what I do. I like that. I'm just curious. So I think curiosity is just super important characteristic, especially in your business because it's a startup. I mean, it's still fresh and new. There's lots of things that you don't know what's going to happen. Like you just there's no way to forecast things. So you need people that are curious. You need people that are kind of asking questions and listening and those things. I think it's super critical in an early stage company to have a lot of curious people, right? I think it's really helpful to be that way. What do you think that what do you think that you do differently, you personally do differently than maybe I or others would do in your business? Like what does it think like if you might, unique selling proposition. What's your unique selling proposition for you personally?
Great question. Um,
Like in the business world, like what's like, you're obviously good at solving complex problems. What is like in the business thing, what would you like? Well, I, I just, I'm this thing, right? What is it that makes you unique?
um, Maybe it's not unique, but it's rare, is that I would sacrifice business growth or gain if I know that there's a chance I will regret about it.
Oh,
So we reject 98% people who apply to buy our franchise, for example.
okay.
98%.
Yeah.
And if we didn't reject those people, we would be growing at 3-4 times that we do right now. But every time I look at it as like, is it a good fit for us? Are we a good fit for them? Uh, are we comfortable, going in partnership with this person? So the way it works in my mind is that if in 2 years this person comes back to me and says, "Oh, I wish I didn't make this decision," if there's a chance of it, I would
Yeah,
rather not to deal with this person.
absolutely. Yeah.
Same with employees or vendors. I look at it as like, okay, would it be a win-win long term, short term and long term?
Yep.
Um, and maybe I'm overcautious, or I don't know why it's happening, but I definitely want to sleep well, and I don't want to become a successful entrepreneur where people would hate. Some of these people will hate.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, and especially in your business, you invest a lot of time and money in someone. I mean, in a franchisee, so it's there's a lot of investment from a time resource perspective for any new person that comes on board. So there is a big commitment.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
It's a huge commitment from your side of the fence. Well, in fact, Alex, tell us give us your introduction. Give us the story, who you are, what you do, all that stuff.
My name is Alex Filipuk. Um, Company that I run is Ideal Siding. I'm franchisor, but I'm also the largest franchisee. I have five locations. We're replacing exterior on homes, stock coat to siding or old siding to siding. We are one of our franchisees told that we are changing house to home, so
Yeah,
people
sure.
have their idea of how their home should look like or how their dream home will look like, and in many cases we can make it exactly how they envisioned it. Um, yeah, yeah. I live in beautiful Vancouver.
That's good. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
so,
good.
so how long? When did you start the business? When did you? Okay, so you bought the franchise when?
We um we launched our first franchise location in 2020 in
Okay.
Canada, and then the first in States in 2022.
Mhm.
Um, so we are franchising for 2 years, and we have 57 locations now in States. w- yeah, Canada expansion was mostly as a training camp. We were improving systems, testing different things, and then when we moved to U.S. market, we just used all the knowledge we had already
Sure.
to expand to more competitive market.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And how did you get into that? Like, how did that happen? Like, what was the, how did you, how did you get started? Like, why this, where's the reasons?
So initially I was after being PayPal, I knew how to do marketing. So when I came to Canada, I was helping with marketing a lot of people, and I moved to performance-based revenue share marketing,
Oh,
where
sure. Yeah.
I would generate leads and I would charge them percentage of revenue. And I was director at church at that time, and one of the guys at church, he shared that his salary, and he was a siding installer, his salary was cut in half And I told him that I can find clients directly because this is what I do, lead generation.
Yep.
He said, no, that's not how it works. Nobody knows you. I said, no, you don't know how it works.
You
Like,
don't know how it
trust
works.
me. Nobody knows me. I'm in the industries where I generate leads too. So
Yeah.
that's not a problem.
That's not, has nothing to do with it.
So I started generating leads for him and then for 4 other companies on the board because we had too many leads, and then
Sure.
for companies across North America. And then I partnered with one of our clients and built a exciting company from scratch. And then I moved my focus to publishing business, to build a publishing business. And then we sold most of our assets in publishing business, and I was looking for next big thing. And I thought, what if we built the first national company that changed exterior? And exciting industry is $60 billion industry a year in States. So it's a fairly large industry, and there is no national player that's, recognizable or have systems or have level of trust that people can have with a large organization. And we just thought that if we are successful, we will be at 100 million system-wide plus, and that was a goal that was large enough for me to get excited.
Yeah.
And we started testing things end of 2018, and then our first location in the first 12 months we did 1.2 million and 400,000 net. And
Wow.
I was like, well, let's test the other markets. This like the beginning of business was very, very upstream. We would say, hey, yeah, your model works in Vancouver, but it wouldn't work in Toronto because you have so much rate in Toronto.
Yeah.
We launched the location in Toronto, then Calgary, then Nanaimo, and all of them were, we didn't have much surprises there. So I had a lot of leads from my lead generation business, so it was much easier to start those businesses across different locations.
Oh,
and
sure.
then
Yeah.
the initial idea was that we'll launch 50 corporate locations, but I met with Brian Scudamore, owner of One How to Go Junk, and he kind of shared how franchising works and why is it better. And I'm glad that we went this route because it allowed us to expand much faster. So since we started selling franchises, and we started them during the COVID, like everything was locked down, was an interesting time. But we definitely expanded way more than if we did the same with corporate location.
Yeah, no, especially it's a great way to expand when you don't have a lot of money, right? Right.
I didn't have much money. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you didn't have the money, but you had the brain power, and you had some unique skills, which is the lead generation piece of that business. I mean, that's a tough business because, as you've learned, most of the owners currently have no marketing business skills. They're good at putting up siting.
Exactly.
They're really good. They're really good at making those kind of decisions. But when it comes to operating, running, even communicating in their business, they're probably fairly bad at it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. This is a big challenge that I see in franchising, is that when somebody buys a franchise on painting or plumbing or whatever franchise, and the franchisor says, hey, we have brochures, we have designer brochures, you can print them, hang them over, but you do your own marketing, or here's the agency that you just pay money and they do it for you.
Sure.
I know that agencies will not be as motivated, and sometimes the results are fairly random. But I still don't understand how franchisees would succeed without this marketing knowledge or skill set. And it's one of the most difficult skill set to get. And if you're good with it, with those skills, you won't be painting homes. You'll be just in lead generation phase.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, like I said, that's the unique thing about your business, is you have that ability, you have the knowledge to drive leads, which, as you've learned, that's usually the biggest problem with this type of business. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true with a painting company. It's true with a plumber. It's true like chiropractor. Most of those things. It's true with that. It's the lead gen and it's local lead gen. It's not national. It's local lead gen. So it's super. There's a skill set, and if you're good at it and you figure it out, that's why a lot of companies do what you're doing. Is like, hey, I'm really good at finding leads for veterinarians or finding leads for name an industry, right? And so, they can build a business around that niche where your niche is, like I say, they're not good business people. They don't know how to market. There's absolutely a need for it. And as you've learned, there's a ton of margin in there, right?
Yeah, and it's not as competitive and it's not as difficult. That was surprised me because my big aha moment was when I was selling, websites and marketing and all those things, and I would normally charge 3,000 for website and marketing, the whole package. And it was so difficult to convince someone to pay me 3,000 for a website and
Sure.
design and SEO and marketing. And when we went to our first estimate, and it was like it'll be $20,000 for setting, and the person was like done, and I was
Done.
like,
What?
I don't understand. That will take me 7 websites,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
would take me so much time to go back and forth with those clients. And then I realized that other companies were charging 30 or 40, and
Yeah.
20 was actually the low number. Yeah, it's a tough business, construction overall and
Oh,
renovation
sure.
specifically, because
Yeah.
you're in service business and construction business at the same time.
Yeah.
But because of those two things, the margins here are significantly higher than in,
Yeah.
retail or I mean, not retail, like product
Yeah. Product. Yeah. Well, consumer
or any
products,
services that
right? Yeah.
automated.
Any kind of consumer product doesn't have those kind of margins, right? It just doesn't. And they're
Yeah.
working on 5%, 3%, 7%. You're working on 20, 25, 30%, right?
Yeah.
It's big difference. So, hey, it is, Alex. It's super. I'm really glad that we connected. It's been fun. I think you have an amazing opportunity. Honestly, I think you're going to do extremely well over the next several years because, like you say, there's a lot of things that we just talked about over the last 4 or 5 minutes. It just says this is a pretty darn good business for what you're doing, like from your standpoint, franchising and I'm just curious, what do you charge a franchisee to join the the Alex team?
So our franchise fee is fairly standard across the industry, 50,000.
Okay.
And when we were setting it up, I went to our lawyers that were drafting the contract, and I said, I don't want people to pay 50,000. I want them to pay 10,000. And lawyers said, no, 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 no. I was like, why? And they told me, Alex, trust me, you don't want someone who don't have 50,000 to
Yeah,
start
that's true.
business.
That's true.
And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And then only a few years later, I realized that if the person doesn't have 50,000 to start any business, franchise, their own business, doesn't
Whatever
matter.
it is. Yeah.
They shouldn't be starting a business.
Absolutely.
Unless it's like a freelance and they sell their time, then,
Sure.
or they're doing commercial cleaning when they clean themselves, that's different. But to real business, you need to have some capital to start. And, could be borrowed capital, could be,
Yeah.
friends
You
and
just have to
family.
have it. Yeah. You just got to have that money in the bank. Otherwise, you just your job is as a franchisor is just harder, honestly, because they're not prepared.
And there's not enough skin in the game. And it's something that I didn't realize before, but now I see around other franchise systems. They, for example, sell 3-4 territories minimum, so they charge $250,000 for similar type,
Sure.
service businesses. And to me, I still struggle with it, but now I know for sure that if someone doesn't have 50,000, that they can allocate to start their business, they should keep working at their
All right.
current job, save
Yeah.
up money, get ready, and then doesn't matter if it's a franchise or they start their own. Because to start your own siding company, because
Yeah.
I have 5 locations and I started them from scratch. And without the franchisor, with all the marketing, call center, HR,
Yeah.
bookkeeping, all of those services, and getting your name out and getting those first clients, I don't think I would be able to do it with less than 50,000.
Yeah.
Like to spend on marketing, to spend on team, to pay for my mistakes on the first projects
Sure.
when I quoted one thing and I lost
Yeah.
money because I
Yeah.
didn't know about things.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think it's a very healthy number, at least right now, to start any business. It's
Yeah.
like some people will probably do better, some people will do worse, but on average, this is what I think
Yeah.
makes the most sense.
That's great. Well, best of luck. That's great.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mike. Thank you for having me on your podcast. It was a privilege.
Well, that's a wrap on another episode of Whose Story Is It? We grow our audience mostly through friends sharing with friends. So please share this with a friend you care about. And of course, share it on your social media. We love that. Also, if you think listening to podcasts was entertaining and valuable, then please subscribe to next week's episode. So keep moving it forward and join us next time as we continue to uncover the extraordinary in the ordinary. Have an amazing day.